is a project that I began in 2004, where I reopened my grandfather's import and export business that he used to operate out of Baghdad. And the company followed him to the US when the family emigrated to New York in 1947. I reopened the company in 2004 with the express purpose of sending items to and from Iraq in the US and from the US, as shipping was incredibly expensive for Iraqis who were living in places like New York. So the project is called Return. And return for me is an interesting word because it not only has these kinds of economic meanings in terms of the return that's generated from a certain kind of business deal, but it is also a way for there to be a return in my family's relationship with Iraq by making this business deal happen that opened up these new social dimensions for me and created friendships among the people who were exporting the dates to me. And so while my grandparents were never able to go back to Iraq, they always kept their relationship. They loved Iraq, they loved being Baghdadi, and as grandchildren we grew up in their house with my mother and my father. And that house was like a way to get to Iraq because the house smelled of Baharat. The stories that were told were about Baghdad, and they weren't stories of war, they were stories of joy, of what it meant for my grandparents to live there. And so this is a project that really sought to move through and to really kind of defend itself against the way that Iraq was always talked about in the context of war, and to actually bring something sweet into that relationship. So it is a return to that relationship and something that really kind of brought me back, even though I'm not there and I'm not from there. To be here in Tunis, in the Medina, presenting the project is really very special to me because being in this city, the way in which the streets are laid out are very representative of the stories my grandmother used to tell about the markets in Baghdad. They remind me of places that I've been, places like Saida or Al-Quds. And to be here amongst all the other shops is for me really important because I always describe the work that I do as being site-specific. And as a sculptor, I've always enjoyed going into different contexts and working with what's there. So having this shop that was originally in Baghdad, that was displaced in the 1940s and comes back to a city that is not dissimilar from the ones that my grandparents came from, is really a very beautiful, beautiful experience for me and for the work. And to have it contextualized in this place with the people, and to be able to discuss, what these identities are, to know that my grandparents described themselves as Arab Jews, my mother uses that identity as well. It is a return in so many ways.